The tears you cried in silence reached heaven. Archangel Michael was there, carrying your prayers to God when you couldn't speak them yourself. My beloved heart, there are moments in life when your soul cries louder than your voice ever could. You've been through nights when not even words could escape your lips, only tears. But what if I told you heaven heard every single one of them? When you sat in the quiet room, feeling like no one saw your pain, Archangel Michael did. His wings were not distant. They wrapped around your spirit, carrying what you could not say into the throne room of God. Every tear you shed was translated into divine language, a message of trust, a whisper of surrender, a signal that heaven could not ignore. Listen carefully, because this moment is sacred. Those hidden tears did not fall to the ground in vain. They became liquid prayers, stored in the golden bowls before the Almighty, each one marked with your name. And Archangel Michael, the warrior of light, stood beside you when you thought you were utterly alone. He was not silent. He was interceding. He spoke the words your heart couldn't form. Father, he said, this one is yours. Your cry is holy. Let their pain become purpose. And heaven moved. Doors that were closed began to tremble. Delays began to break. The unseen realm started shifting because of the soundless prayers carried by Michael's hands. Even now, as you hear this message, your spirit knows it's true. Something inside you recognizes that your pain was never wasted. Those tears have built a bridge between your suffering and your breakthrough. And the time to walk across that bridge is closer than you think. Hold on, child of light. The silence you endured was not punishment, it was preparation. Heaven was listening when you thought no one cared. Before the next sunrise, something divine is about to respond to those silent cries. Before you scroll, wait, because this is where your story turns. The unseen has begun to manifest, and Archangel Michael's message for you is only just beginning. Type "I receive my divine answer" in the comments if this is touching your spirit. Blessing code 1001 is now active. Precious one, do you know what happens when heaven receives your tears? They are not forgotten drops of pain. They become divine seeds. Every tear that left your eyes hath been planted into the soil of eternity, and now heaven is commanding a harvest. Archangel Michael has been watching over that harvest, guarding it fiercely, because it carries your destiny inside it. Those nights when you whispered, "God, do you even see me?" He was there. His sword glowed in silence, cutting through the darkness that tried to consume your hope. You see, silence is not absence. It is a sacred language between the soul and the Creator. When your words failed, your tears spoke the truth of your spirit. And Michael understood. The angel of divine justice is never sent without purpose. He was assigned to you, not because of pity, but because of promise. There is something on your life that darkness tried to suffocate, but heaven refused to let it die. Archangel Michael has been standing in your home, unseen but undeniably present. He has whispered courage into your atmosphere. He has broken unseen chains that were meant to keep you bound in fear. Every time you wanted to give up, he released a quiet strength within you, and that strength was not random. It was divine reinforcement. You have no idea how close you came to break through the moment you almost surrendered to despair. The spiritual realm is alive with activity around you right now. God is answering not from a distance, but through movements already happening in your path. Expect conversations to shift. Expect sudden clarity. Expect signs that cannot be explained by logic. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that Archangel Michael has delivered your cry into heaven's hands. There will be a day soon when you will look back and realize that those tears were not moments of weakness. They were sacred exchanges between you and the divine. The pain was not a period, it was a comma. God was not finished. And even now, heaven is aligning everything that seemed broken. The very things that made you weep are about to become testimonies that make others believe. Stay with me, because what comes next will reveal how heaven turns tears into transformation. You're about to understand what God has been doing behind the silence. Hold your heart steady. This is where revelation begins to unfold. Type "I am ready for my revelation" in the comments if your spirit feels this truth. Blessing code 1444 has been released. Beloved soul, heaven has been waiting for this very moment to reveal what your silent tears truly unlocked. When Archangel Michael carried your prayers before God, it was not a simple delivery. It was a divine transaction. Your pain became a key, unlocking heavenly movements that began shifting your destiny even before you could see it. What felt like delay was actually divine timing aligning. The reason the answer took time was because heaven was not just preparing the blessing, it was preparing you to hold it. There are seasons when God hides you so He can heal you. You were not ignored, you were being rebuilt. Every hidden season has purpose, and Archangel Michael has been ensuring that no force of darkness interrupts your rebuilding process. There were times the enemy tried to place confusion in your path, whispering that you were forgotten. But Michael stood guard over your name, reminding heaven of your faithfulness. Even when you didn't feel strong, your endurance became your loudest worship. The heavens remember every moment you chose faith over fear. Each tear was recorded as testimony. Archangel Michael has seen your resilience, your kindness despite betrayal, your hope despite loss. He knows that what was meant to destroy you only deepened your divine connection. Heaven hath been gathering evidence of your perseverance, and now it's time for divine justice to be released. God is ready to repay what pain tried to steal. You are entering a season of holy recompense. Prepare yourself, for the winds of change are already moving. The people who once misunderstood you will soon witness the hand of God setting things right. The very things that made you cry will become proof that heaven always had a plan. Archangel Michael's sword has cleared the path, and what once felt impossible will now come together in sudden acceleration. Before this year ends, the doors that seemed sealed will swing open effortlessly. If you are hearing this, know that your story is far from over. You are walking into a divine reversal, a turnaround written in heaven long ago. Hold your peace, because your vindication will not come from arguments, it will come from manifestation. You won't need to prove anything. God Himself will confirm you. Keep watching, because the next revelation will show why Michael was specifically assigned to your tears. The reason is powerful beyond imagination, and when you understand it, your faith will never waver again. Before you go further, pause this moment, breathe, and declare it with power. Your breakthrough has already been recorded in heaven. Type "I am chosen for divine justice" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2024 has now been activated. Now, before we continue to the next revelation, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs this message, and subscribe if your heart has felt God speaking here. Your engagement pushes this message to souls who are silently crying right now, just as you once did. Let's help Archangel Michael reach them through this divine platform. And to those who feel the call to go deeper, listen carefully. When you support this mission, you are not just giving, you are sowing into the movement of heaven itself. Each super thanks, membership, or PayPal seed link in description becomes a torch that lights another soul's path. The word says, "He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed." I declare, as you give, the oil of restoration will flow through your home. This is not an offering. It is obedience wrapped in light. I speak divine favor over every giver, that rivers of provision begin to open for you now. Archangel Michael himself will guard your harvest. This is your moment to act. Step into it boldly. Heaven is watching. Dearest one, when Archangel Michael stood beside you, it wasn't just to comfort you, it was to position you. The tears you shed were not ordinary tears, they were the language of transition. In the unseen world, your weeping marked the end of one season and the beginning of another. Every tear had a purpose, every ache had a voice, and heaven had been responding to what you could not even articulate. The reason the pain lasted so long is because something inside you was being reborn. The old identity, the false limitations, and the voices that told you that you were not enough, all were being dismantled. Archangel Michael was assigned to ensure that you did not lose yourself in the process. When you felt like you were breaking, heaven was actually reshaping you. The silence you mistook for divine distance was actually divine intimacy. God was speaking, not in words, but in transformation. Every moment you felt unseen, the angels were documenting your endurance. Michael was not standing idly by. He was fighting for your destiny in realms you cannot yet comprehend. There were spiritual storms raging around you, and his sword cut through every one of them, protecting what God had planted inside you. Right now, you are standing at the threshold of fulfillment. The air around your life has changed. Have you noticed how certain people began to drift away? That was not loss. It was divine filtration. Michael has been clearing your atmosphere because new blessings cannot breathe in old environments. Those who cannot carry your next chapter were removed for your protection. Every disappointment was actually divine direction. Heaven refuses to let you settle for anything smaller than your purpose. You will soon realize why the waiting was so long. God was not delaying. He was developing. Your tears carved channels for wisdom, compassion, and spiritual authority to flow through you. What broke you has actually equipped you. And Michael is now preparing to reveal the evidence of that transformation. Soon, what once made you weep will become the very reason others find faith again. Your story is going to heal hearts. The testimony rising from your tears will carry power that shakes darkness. This is your season of divine emergence. You are not just recovering. You are rising with new fire, new discernment, and new authority. The same angel who carried your tears to heaven is now carrying heaven's instructions to you. Pay attention to dreams, signs, and sudden insights. They are not coincidences. They are divine communications. The next chapter of your journey is being written right now, and you are the protagonist of a story that heaven itself celebrates. Wait for what comes next, because Archangel Michael's next message is not about your past, it's about your assignment. The reason you endured so much pain is because there is a divine calling upon your life, one that carries weight in the spiritual realm. You will soon understand that everything you suffered was training for your mission. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear will awaken your purpose like never before. Type "I rise in divine purpose" in the comments if this word resonates in your spirit. Blessing code 5555 has now been released. Child of light, there comes a moment in every soul's journey when the pain of the past begins to reveal its hidden purpose. This is that moment for you. Those tears that fell without sound have been transformed into spiritual oil, anointing that can only be born from brokenness. Archangel Michael has been watching over this transformation, ensuring that your wounds do not define you, but rather refine you. What was meant to destroy your spirit has become the very fire that is purifying your destiny. You are no longer the person who entered that season of sorrow. You are emerging as someone heaven can trust with greater authority. In the quiet of your suffering, you were learning to hear God differently. When words failed, your heart learned the rhythm of His whispers. When people turned away, the presence drew closer. Every lonely night became an altar, every tear became a seed, and now the harvest is near. Archangel Michael hath been commanded to prepare your path for manifestation. You will soon walk through doors that were locked for years, and what once resisted you will now recognize you. This is not luck, it is divine alignment. Heaven's timing may have frustrated you, but now you will see why it had to be this way. The delay was your shield. The unanswered prayers were protection in disguise. Some things were withheld because they would have distracted you from your purpose. God was not saying no. He was saying, "Not yet, my child." And now, the yet has arrived. The divine clock has struck its appointed hour. Michael has sounded the call in the spiritual realm, and everything assigned to you is now being released. But with release comes responsibility. The anointing that has been placed upon you carries weight. It requires discernment. You are being called to rise not just as a receiver of blessings, but as a vessel of healing. There are others who are crying in silence just as you once did. The reason you understand pain so deeply is because you are meant to speak into it with divine authority. Archangel Michael's presence in your life is not random. It is mentorship from heaven. You have been trained through tears to carry compassion without compromise. In the days to come, you may feel the atmosphere around you shifting. That's because heaven is rearranging circumstances to match your new level. Relationships will shift, ideas will come alive, and opportunities will approach. Do not resist the change. It is proof that God has heard your cry. Michael has already gone before you to make the path clear. What once took effort will now flow with grace. The same angels that caught your tears will now carry your victory. You are standing at the edge of divine unveiling. The very heavens are watching you rise from the ashes. Remember this moment, because it marks the turning point of your story. Before the next dawn, your spirit will sense movement. Doors opening, burdens lifting, and peace settling like a gentle wind. It is the signal that heaven has answered. Hold your heart steady, beloved, because the next revelation will expose what your pain was truly preparing you for. The purpose you are about to discover will explain every unanswered question, every long night, and every silent cry. This next truth is the core of why Archangel Michael was sent to you. Type "I embrace my divine calling" in the comments if this word has found you. Blessing code 8880 hath been activated. Beloved heart, listen carefully. This is where the mystery begins to unfold. The tears you cried were not only heard by heaven, they were interpreted by heaven. In the spiritual realm, every tear carries information about your faith, your endurance, your trust. When Archangel Michael carried your silent prayers to God, he did not bring them as sorrow. He brought them as evidence of your unwavering belief even in pain. That evidence was enough to move divine order on your behalf. You became a witness before the throne of heaven, proof that love still endures, that faith still stands even in silence. There is a reason Michael was the one assigned to your tears and not another messenger. His role is not merely to defend, it is to deliver victory where despair tried to dwell. When he stood beside your bed at night, watching you wrestle between hope and heartbreak, he was gathering strength from your resilience. Heaven calls such souls keepers of divine endurance. You, beloved, are one of them. The same pain that threatened to break you actually positioned you to receive authority over it. That is why the enemy fought you so fiercely, because he knew what you would become once you made it through. Michael's task was to ensure that your process didn't turn into paralysis. He shielded your purpose while God worked on your heart. You thought nothing was happening, but in those silent nights, angels were reordering your future. Things that were meant to delay you have already been dismantled. Doors that others tried to close are reopening under divine instruction. There are miracles now in motion that will not be stopped. The tears you thought were buried have become blueprints for new beginnings. You will soon notice divine coincidences, but they are not coincidences at all. They are signals. A name you haven't heard in years may reappear. A forgotten opportunity may suddenly call your name again. That is Archangel Michael moving in your timeline, aligning events that were once out of order. He is the angel of divine correction, and he has come to redeem lost time. What you thought was over is about to re-emerge in glory. You are being given back years that pain seemed to steal. This is a sacred moment of restoration. God has seen your hidden obedience, your private sacrifices, and your choice to forgive even when forgiveness seemed impossible. Those decisions have built an altar in heaven, and now fire falls upon it. Expect renewal to touch every area of your life: relationships, finances, health, purpose. The same tears that watered your wilderness are about to bloom into a field of divine favor. You are stepping into the fullness of what those tears purchased. But do not forget, restoration is not just about receiving. It's about remembering who sent it. Every blessing that comes next carries a responsibility to glorify the one who brought you through. Archangel Michael's message is not only comfort, it is calling. You are being invited to carry light into dark spaces, to speak hope where others have lost it. Heaven is counting on you to become a living testimony of divine endurance. Before the next revelation, take a deep breath. You are about to learn how your story connects to others who are silently crying right now. This next part will awaken a sense of purpose so deep that your very presence will begin to heal those around you. Stay close. This is where heaven begins to reveal your assignment in full. Type "My restoration is in motion" in the comments if this truth is stirring your spirit. Blessing code 1010 has now been released. My precious soul, there is something sacred about what happens when your pain begins to serve its purpose. The tears that once represented loss are now turning into light. Archangel Michael has not only carried your cries to heaven, he has been commanded to shape those cries into a weapon of strength. You are no longer standing in the ashes of what was. You are standing in the garden of what is being reborn. Heaven has turned your mourning into mentorship, your heartbreak into holy authority. This is why you were not allowed to give up. You were chosen to transform pain into purpose, and purpose into power. When the storm raged around you, Michael was not merely watching, he was training your spirit in silence. The strength you carry today did not come from comfort. It came from the crucible of divine pressure. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every heartbreak carved capacity within you. You were stretched because heaven needed to enlarge your ability to carry light. And now, the expansion is complete. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are a vessel of transformation. The spiritual atmosphere around you has shifted. Things that used to drain your spirit no longer affect you the same way. That is not emotional detachment. It is spiritual maturity. Michael has been removing emotional toxins from your environment, preparing you for the purity of divine assignment. Your discernment has sharpened. Your inner peace is returning. What once made you anxious will now make you powerful, because you will recognize pain as an invitation for purpose. Heaven is now preparing to send you into places where people are crying the same tears you once cried. You will not simply comfort them, you will awaken them. Your voice will carry the same healing that your tears released. When you speak, chains will loosen. When you pray, heaviness will lift. And when you walk into a room, light will follow. This is the mantle that has been forming through your suffering, the mantle of divine restoration. Do not fear this calling, for Michael goes before you. He will silence every accusation and break every opposition. Even now, he is organizing divine encounters, moments when your words will meet the exact need of someone on the edge of giving up. You may not recognize it at first, but heaven will confirm it through peace, through timing, through an inner knowing that what you are doing is divinely orchestrated. You are about to step into a flow where obedience will open blessings faster than effort ever could. Understand this deeply. You were never meant to stay in sorrow. You were meant to rise from it and carry others out. That is why God trusted you with tears, because He knew you would not waste them. Every drop has now become divine currency in heaven, and Michael is ensuring your reward finds you swiftly. Restoration is not coming. It is here, unfolding quietly, but powerfully. Watch how peace begins to return to your nights, how joy sneaks back into your mornings, and how your soul feels lighter without explanation. That is the evidence that heaven has shifted your season. Stay with me, beloved, because the next revelation will show how this anointing you carry now will multiply. The tears that once fell for you will soon fall for others as they encounter the same God through your life. Something glorious is about to unfold, and the divine exchange is just beginning. Type "I am anointed to rise" in the comments if your spirit is awakening. Blessing code 9090 has been released upon you. Beloved, this is the moment where your story begins to echo beyond you. The same tears that once fell in private are now turning into rivers of healing for others. Heaven has chosen to make your scars sacred, and Archangel Michael stands beside you, declaring that what once broke you will now bless many. You were not chosen because you were the strongest. You were chosen because you remained faithful when strength was gone. That is the mark heaven looks for, a heart that does not give up when silence fills the room. Every time you whispered, "God, I still trust you," even when you couldn't see the way forward, a light was lit in heaven bearing your name. That light has not been out, it shines now brighter than ever. Michael has been guarding that light fiercely. In moments when darkness tried to dim it, his sword flashed across your atmosphere, cutting through despair and hopelessness. You may not have seen him, but you have felt him. The sudden peace in chaos, the unexplainable strength when you were weak, the sense that something was shielding you from total collapse. That was him. He is heaven's assurance that your journey has meaning far beyond the pain. You have been in divine training, and now your spirit carries a mantle that few can bear, the mantle of compassion born through endurance. Now listen closely, because this is where it all comes together. Heaven is releasing a fresh wave of restoration upon your life. People will soon recognize the glow of resilience around you. Those who once overlooked you will feel drawn to the peace you now carry. It is not arrogance, it is anointing. You are walking proof that tears can become testimonies, that silence can give birth to strength. And Michael is still at your side, guiding every step. He is clearing the path so that your journey no longer feels heavy but holy. Every trial you faced was preparing you for this moment. The same pain that once made you question your worth has now become evidence of your spiritual authority. Your life is becoming a living altar, a space where others will encounter the presence of God through your words, your kindness, your patience, and your resilience. You may think you have nothing special, but heaven sees you as a carrier of divine fragrance. Every act of love you show now sends ripples through eternity. You are not just surviving anymore. You are shaping destinies. Archangel Michael's message for you in this moment is clear. Do not hide what God has healed. Your story is light. Speak it, share it, release it. For every tear that once fell from your eyes, 1,000 hearts can be lifted. And this is why you had to walk through the fire, so that you can lead others safely through theirs. You have now become heaven's messenger in human form, and the realm of light stands behind you. Before you continue to the next revelation, take a moment to acknowledge what God has done. You are still standing, still breathing, still believing. That is victory already. The next move of heaven will not just touch your life, it will move through your life, transforming others around you. The power that once saved you will now flow from you. Type "I am a carrier of light" in the comments if this message speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 1111 is now active over your life. Now, beloved soul, if this message has awakened something inside you, I want you to act. Like this video, share it with someone who needs divine strength today, and subscribe so you never miss another word heaven is releasing through this channel. Every share becomes a seed that helps this message reach another weary soul who needs it. And for those who feel a tug to stand with this mission in a deeper way, listen to me. This is holy ground. When you sow into this work through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal link in the description, you are not donating, you are joining heaven's army and spreading light to those in despair. The word says, those who sow in tears will reap in joy. As you give, may God multiply back to you peace, favor, and open heavens. I declare that the oil of gladness will cover your home and that Archangel Michael himself will stand watch over your household. This is not an act of charity. It is a prophetic response to destiny. Rise, act, and release your faith. Heaven records every seed. Dearest soul, when heaven begins to move on your behalf, it doesn't always arrive with thunder or visible signs. Sometimes it moves quietly, softly, rearranging things while you sleep. It is what has been happening around you lately. What seemed like confusion was actually divine construction. Archangel Michael has been working behind the veil, reordering your timeline to match the promises spoken over your life. He has been restoring what was stolen, rebuilding what was ruined, and reconnecting you to the destiny that pain tried to erase. You may not see it fully yet, but the shift is already complete in the spiritual realm. Every tear you once cried marked a place where heaven would later plant victory. Those tears fell like rain on dry ground, and now the soil of your life is fertile for miracles. You are standing at the edge of divine manifestation. Even now, Michael has been releasing a sound, a heavenly decree that says your name. That sound carries power. It moves through barriers, through memories, through the walls of time, aligning everything that concerns you. Your life is being rewritten under the authority of divine order. The story that once caused you pain will now become your greatest platform for purpose. But with every divine release comes a test of trust. Do not look to what seems delayed. Look to what is being designed. Heaven's timing never fails. God's silence is never punishment. It is preparation for revelation. Archangel Michael's presence in your story was never about removing every obstacle instantly. It was about ensuring that when victory came, you were strong enough to carry it. Heaven was not trying to keep you waiting. Heaven was building your wings so you could soar without fear. Right now, your name is being whispered in places you have not yet stepped into. Opportunities are aligning. Conversations are happening about you that will open doors you never imagined. People who once overlooked you are beginning to sense something different, a light around you that cannot be ignored. That light is your divine confirmation that the season of obscurity is ending. God is calling you into visibility, not for fame, but for purpose. Your tears have purchased influence. You will use it to heal, not to boast. Michael stands as the witness of your transformation. He saw the darkness you endured, and now he guards the glory you are walking into. His sword has cleared the final blockages. The old cycles of lack, rejection, and confusion have been broken once and for all. Heaven has stamped your name with favor. What is coming next will not be partial, it will be complete. The restoration will touch every area: relationships, health, finances, peace, and divine connection. You will look back and realize that the waiting season was never wasted. It was the workshop of heaven, crafting your destiny with precision. As you listen, let this truth settle deep in your heart. You are no longer the person who wept in silence. You are the one who rose from the ashes carrying a message of divine endurance. And soon, your presence will remind others that God still answers prayers, even the ones spoken only through tears. Hold still now, because the next revelation will open your spiritual eyes to something greater. While your restoration is not just about you, but about generations that will follow. What God is doing in your life will echo far beyond this moment. This is the legacy of your tears. Type "My legacy is restoration" in the comments if your heart receives this message. Blessing code 1212 has now been released. Beloved of heaven, the time has come for you to understand the magnitude of what your tears have built in eternity. What you thought were moments of weakness were actually foundations of spiritual strength. Each tear you shed became a stone in a divine structure, an altar of remembrance before God. Archangel Michael stood as the architect of that altar, recording every moment of your surrender, every whispered prayer that never reached human ears. Heaven and not forgotten those nights. They are written in the very fabric of your destiny. The pain that once silenced you has now given you a voice that carries authority in the Spirit. You have become a living testimony that even in the darkest hours, the light of faith cannot be extinguished. You have been through a refining fire, and now the reflection of heaven is seen in you. The trials did not take your worth, they revealed it. Every delay, every disappointment, every lonely night was shaping your spirit into something heaven could trust. Michael's assignment was not simply to comfort you, but to escort you through transformation. His sword of light has been severing ties to everything that was never meant to follow you into this new season. Friendships, habits, fears, even memories that held you captive have been quietly lifted from your path. What remains now is pure, refined, unstoppable faith. Look closely at your life. Can you feel the stillness that has settled after the storm? That peace is not emptiness, it is preparation. Heaven is clearing your atmosphere because divine announcements are about to be made through you. There are people whose lives will shift because of what you have overcome. Your presence will begin to carry answers. When you speak, hearts will feel it. When you pray, doors will open. That is the evidence that the tears have been transformed into oil, the oil of restoration, discernment, and wisdom. Archangel Michael now moves beside you not as a guardian of pain, but as a companion of purpose. He will guide your steps with precision, leading you into environments where your light is needed. Do not shrink back from those places, even if they seem unfamiliar or intimidating. You are being placed where healing is required, and heaven has prepared you for it. What you carry is rare. It is compassion sharpened by truth, humility wrapped in strength. You will recognize divine appointments because peace will precede them. The next move of God in your life will be subtle yet undeniable. It will not shout, it will whisper. It will appear in moments of grace, in conversations that open doors, in opportunities that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence. That will be your confirmation that heaven has shifted your timeline from survival to significance. You are now walking in a rhythm orchestrated by the divine. Every step forward will echo purpose. Every breath will carry peace. You have not been forgotten. You have been forged. And now, you are being sent forth as a vessel of glory, carrying the fragrance of divine endurance. The same way Michael carried your prayers to God, you will now carry hope to others. What once felt like loss will become your ministry of love. You are not merely restored. You are reborn into your divine identity. Stay with me, beloved, because what comes next reveals the deepest mystery of all, why heaven allowed you to break only to rebuild you stronger than before. You will finally see how your journey fits into the grand tapestry of heaven's design. The revelation waiting to unfold will make every unanswered question suddenly make sense. Type "I am forged by heaven" in the comments if this word stirs your spirit. Blessing code 7777 is now released upon your life. Beloved child of light, you are standing in the quiet after the storm, and in that silence something sacred is being written. Every tear you once shed has turned into testimony, every heartbreak into holy instruction. What you thought was an ending was actually the beginning of a divine unveiling. Archangel Michael, who once stood beside your weeping, now stands before you holding a banner of victory. It bears your name and a decree from heaven. The season of sorrow is over. What comes now is the unveiling of glory. You have crossed from surviving into reigning, from asking why into living in the answer itself. Heaven's movements around you have intensified. You may feel sudden clarity about things that once confused you, or a calmness where you once panicked. These are not mood changes. They are signs of divine alignment. Michael has completed his mission of intercession and has now entered his mission of guidance. You are not the same person you were when your tears first fell. The silence you endured purified your hearing. The suffering sharpened your discernment. You can now recognize the difference between distraction and destiny. You are walking in a level of spiritual awareness that only deep pain could birth. This awareness is a gift, but it also carries responsibility. You are now entrusted with understanding, an ability to sense the unseen, to feel when heaven is speaking even in stillness. Use it with humility. The purpose of revelation is not pride, it is healing. There are hearts around you waiting to be touched by the wisdom your suffering has produced. Archangel Michael is now orchestrating divine meetings, connecting you to those whose prayers align with your anointing. You will recognize them by the peace they carry and the truth they speak. Heaven will use your life as a bridge for others who are still crying in silence. Do not underestimate your influence. You may think your story is small, but in the spiritual realm it has become a beacon of endurance. Each act of faith you took when no one was watching sent ripples through eternity. Those ripples are returning now as favor, open doors, and unexpected opportunities. When you step forward, heaven steps with you. When you speak, the vibration of light follows. You have become a living testimony of divine faithfulness. The same tears that once blurred your vision have now cleared it. You can see clearly who you are and who you belong to. You were never forgotten in your pain. You were being prepared for purpose. Michael was never far from you, even in the moments when you could not feel his presence. He guarded you while God worked silently on your heart. Every scar you carry has been sealed with light. The enemy cannot use your past against you anymore because you have turned it into your platform of praise. Your tears no longer speak of weakness, they speak of victory. The sound of your voice now carries healing, not hurt. The heavens are open above you, beloved. What is coming will exceed everything you imagined while you wept. The relationships, opportunities, and blessings that are approaching will not demand effort. They will flow naturally because the season of striving is finished. You are stepping into the ease of grace. You will not chase. You will attract what is aligned with divine order. This is what the tears purchased. This is the inheritance of endurance. Stay with me as the final revelation comes next. The last message will reveal the ultimate purpose behind everything you've endured. The divine mystery that connects your story, your destiny, and the movement of heaven itself. Do not look away now, for this final unveiling will explain it all. Type "My victory is sealed in heaven" in the comments if this truth burns in your heart. Blessing code 1313 has now been released over your life. Beloved, take a breath and listen closely. This is the moment where everything comes full circle. The tears you cried in silence were not wasted, not one of them. They were sacred petitions that reached the very heart of God, and Archangel Michael was there, carrying them in his hands, speaking your name before the throne. What you thought was a breakdown was actually a divine conversation in motion. Heaven was not punishing you, heaven was preparing you. Every silent night, every ache in your chest, every unanswered prayer was working toward this revelation. You were being shaped into a vessel of divine glory. Do you realize what happens when a human soul refuses to give up, even in its darkest hour? It becomes a beacon in the unseen realm. That's what you are now. You carry a light that cannot be dimmed. Michael saw that light flicker through your tears, and he shielded it from the winds of despair. You were protected even when you didn't feel protected. While you wept, armies of angels surrounded you. When you thought God was silent, heaven was actually strategizing. The silence was the sound of your story being written. Now, that story has reached its turning point. The same tears that once marked your sorrow now carry resurrection power. You are not the same person who entered the storm. You are reborn in understanding, renewed in spirit, and reignited with divine authority. The weight that once pressed you down has become the foundation that lifts you higher. You have learned the rhythm of heaven's timing, and now you walk in alignment with divine purpose. Everything that left your life did so by design. Everything that stayed was chosen by heaven itself. Archangel Michael's message for you now is simple yet powerful. You made it through the fire, now become the flame. Your purpose is no longer hidden in pain. It burns in your presence. The same compassion that once made you cry will now make you heal others. When you speak, hearts will be stirred. When you pray, the atmosphere will shift. Heaven has turned your tears into authority, your endurance into anointing. This is why you survive. The world needs what you carry. This is the hour when heaven's favor begins to flow without resistance. Your name will be spoken in rooms you've never entered. Peace will become your daily companion. The weight that once held you back is gone, dissolved by divine justice. Michael stands watch as the Archangel of completion, ensuring that what was promised to you finally finds its way into your hands. You will no longer wonder when. You will begin to witness now. Every promise, every prophecy, every prayer whispered in the night is aligning into manifestation. Remember, beloved, your journey was never about punishment. It was preparation for your purpose. You were trusted with pain because heaven knew you would turn it into power. And now, as Michael lowers his sword in triumph, the message is clear. Your assignment begins. You are not to hide your story any longer. You are to shine, to speak, to stand, to heal. Your life is the living proof that heaven listens, that angels move, and that tears never fall unnoticed. If this message has stirred something deep within you, know that it was meant to. This is your divine confirmation that your time has come. You are stepping out of the shadows and into the radiant light of your new season. The tears that reached heaven have returned to you as blessing, favor, and victory. Let this be the day you declare that your soul is free, your purpose is alive, and your story is sacred. Type "My tears have become my testimony" in the comments if this word burns in your spirit. Blessing code 2222 is now released over your life. Now, before you close this message, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs this divine reminder, and subscribe to stay connected with every message heaven releases through this channel. Your support is not just digital, it's spiritual. Every time you engage, you help Archangel Michael's message reach souls who feel unseen, unheard, and unloved. And to those who feel called to go deeper, hear this with your heart. When you sow into this work, whether through super thanks, membership, or PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a person. You are giving into the mission of heaven. Each offering becomes a beam of light that pierces someone else's darkness. The scripture says, "Those who sow in tears will reap in joy." I declare this: as you give, joy will return to you multiplied. Let your giving today become your prophetic act of gratitude for what God has already done. May your home be filled with peace, your hands overflow with provision, and your spirit burn brighter than ever before. Heaven sees your seed. Michael guards your harvest. Step forward in faith and watch the floodgates open.